So we know how a computer gets a keyboard depression into a letter lit up on your monitor. It converts the keyboard into a simple code or set of switches, and then that set of switches tells the computer to put the capital A onto your monitor. And we know that that set of switches has to be the same set, the same code for every computer in the world, because if we didn't do that, plugging different keyboards in would result in different capital letters because the codes would be different. Or if we sent a Word document from one type of computer to another, the words would all jumble up because they would have different codes. So that was actually the case until the 1960s. All of these characters here, A, B, C, D, capitals, little A, B, C, Ds, numbers, all the other symbols, spaces, all of those had different codes in different computers. So you can imagine when people tried to move things around or send files to different places, it was a shambles. It was horrible. Nothing worked. So they had to think of a way of sorting out that problem. Remember, I've said that there were 7 available switches, and 7 available switches gives us 0 to 7 ones, which equals 127. 127 symbols or 127 different numbers can be made by 7 binary digits or 7 switches. And luckily they figured out that that was enough to do most of the obvious symbols that you would want on a keyboard. It still didn't solve the problem of companies agreeing. Eventually they did agree. They came up with this standard, ASCII it's called, and it stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. And what the code looks like is this. Every single character on the keyboard had a code. So null, which is a space, has the code 00000. And you can see down here that most of the first numbers were things like backspace and tab and cancel and all of those things. Then the second column starts off with all the symbols, ampersands and all sorts of weird shapes and stuff. Then as you get down into the 60s, and we'll just move all this stuff out of the way so you can see, when you get down to the 60s, you start getting into, well, here, in this space here, you start getting the numbers. And then when you get into the when you get into the higher 60s, you get capital A's, B's, C's, D's. Then you get the little letters coming in a bit further on, over in this area. And every computer in this area here, every computer in the world used this simple code called ASCII, or American Standard Code for Information Interchange, for years and years and years. And then they had a problem.